Alright, now that we've gone ahead and done the foundation service, we're going to go ahead and configure the Acropolis hypervisor. First we're going to go ahead and launch the Prism interface. So we're going to launch the Prism interface and go ahead and log in for the first time. The username and password for the default login will be admin, and then we're going to go ahead and change that password. Alright, and then go ahead and enter your information. Go ahead and accept the terms. And at this point we can actually go ahead and enable Pulse if we wanted to. So don't forget, at this point we're actually connected to the customer's network. So at this point we can actually go ahead and configure the storage on the system. So let's go over into the storage submenu. And you can see, as part of the process, Foundation has actually created the storage pool already. So all we have to do is then take a look at the containers and create additional containers if we need to, or we can actually leave the default one in there. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this container because I want to actually go ahead and create my own. And so we're going to hit this plus container button, and then we're going to give this a name. Now it's going to automatically choose the storage pool that's already been created. And here at this point I can go ahead and click on Save, or I can actually click on the advanced setting and change the additional settings. And here we can actually set the erasure of the replication factor. Now if I actually had created this cluster with at least 5 nodes and set the replication factor at the very beginning of the foundation to replication factor 3, then I can actually go ahead and choose RF3. But since this is just a 3-node system, I only have option of creating replication factor 2. And we also have the ability to actually go ahead and enable erasure coding. And we also have the ability to then go ahead and set the reserve capacity, advertised capacity. We can also go ahead and enable deduplication, whether on the performance tier and the capacity tier. And we can also enable compression. And with the number of minutes here, if we put any value in here, that will actually activate post-process compression on the system. We actually have the ability to then go ahead and create a file system whitelist if we're going to go ahead and migrate other systems into the Nutanix system. We can go ahead and add the server IP addresses in the file system whitelist for that migration period. Right now I'm going to turn off all the settings and click on Save. So now I've created my first container. Next we're going to go ahead and set up the NTP server settings. So if we go over onto the gear menu and click on NTP, we go ahead and add any additional NTP servers we need on the network. We do require NTP for the cluster to actually maintain its clock. Then we're going to go over into the name server settings. And add any additional DNS servers on the system. Then we're going to over onto the SMTP server. And here we enter our SMTP information and any authentication if needed. The SMTP servers is where we actually go ahead and send out alerts over to Nutanix support as well as yourself. Then we go over onto the alert email configuration. And here we actually want to go ahead and enter the email addresses that we want to go ahead and send alerts to as well. Then we want to actually go ahead into the licensing page and actually go ahead and apply our licenses. So you can click on Manage Licenses, and then it's going to go ahead and generate a cluster summary file. Go ahead and click on that, then download that cluster summary file. And then log into the support portal and then go ahead and upload that summary file to generate the licenses, which you'll go ahead and download and then go ahead and upload into the Prism interface here. Next we go ahead and if you're running Prism Central, we're going to go ahead and go over the Prism Central page. And here we actually enter the host name or IP address of the Prism Central virtual machine along with the username and password. This will authenticate this particular cluster over to the Prism Central. Next we're going to go ahead and enable Pulse. We're going to go over to the Pulse setup screen and make sure Pulse is enabled. Now Pulse is actually going to go ahead and utilize our phone home feature and contact our support department whenever there's an issue with your system. And then we're going to go ahead and set the high availability mode. So click on the gear icon and go to Manage VM High Availability. And let's go ahead and check Enable High Availability. And you click on OK. And that completes the Acropolis Hypervisor install process. Next, we're going to take a look at the vSphere install process.